Welcome back to the Secret Code Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Weisen, and today we're joined by special guest, The Doctor. The Doctor who is behind the Golden Dragon NFT project. Not just NFTs and profile pictures, but also games, trading cards, battles, puzzles, storylines, and a $25,000 jackpot to the winner. So, without further ado, let's find out how to fight.
And ideas expressed in this podcast are not to be considered representative of any other parties affiliated with the Secret Network. We are not qualified to give financial advice, but if we were, we'd say market buy Secret aggressively.
For the community, by the community.
Doctor, welcome to the Secret Code Podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Eric, how's it going? And hello, everyone.
You got a nicer mic than me and a nicer background than me, and I am jealous and excited.
All right, well, good news, you can buy one soon, so we can all just be toting these dragon backgrounds.
All right, dude, absolutely. So tell me how you got started with the Golden Dragon.
Yeah, so I myself have been involved with Secret Network now for a little bit, kind of as part of the community. I'm a pretty big believer in privacy and what it means to, kind of own your own data, to not always be, under the watchful guise of anyone and everyone. I think we've seen quite a bit, especially in the past 5 years or so, just kind of not only the value of data, but also the importance of our data and, just how readily available all of our data becomes online. And so I kind of found my way to Secret Network, and I was just hooked immediately. And from the start, I was like, I want to get involved, right? So I've been involved in the community, and I've actually attended a few different conferences and kind of talked to, a number of different NFT projects, game projects, other crypto networks. And one of the things that is just like so severely lacking is that data privacy, and the understanding of privacy in the crypto space. So one of the things that kind of stood out to me was just kind of like the advent of what we can do when information can be shared privately with one another. And so I started racking my brain. I was like, oh, how could we use this? How can we expand kind of the messaging really behind Secret Network? And that was my initial purpose behind all of this was, I really wanted to bring some attention to Secret Network to get people talking about, hey, what makes this different than kind of some of these other networks? And so I was like, well, one of the things that people are constantly going after is money, right? So people like money, everyone wants money. And so we were like, what if we put like a pretty significant amount of money and we just like stored it in the metadata? And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. And at first we thought, we were like, oh, we'll do it, like random chunks. We'll make a really cool series. We'll find a really cool PFP artist or something like that. And we'll just throw, $25,000, $1,000 in 25 different NFTs and let people mint randomly. And I was like, it's pretty cool. And then I was like, oh, I've seen it done, and it's not like, it doesn't make us special in any way, right? Like it doesn't make us unique. It doesn't bring attention to Secret Network. And so I really kind of just started racking my brain. And a couple of years ago, there's a phenomenal artist that I encourage everyone to go check out if you haven't heard him. His name's Crypto Graffiti. And he has run now, I think it's 2 years in a row, maybe 3, but definitely twice now. He's run BTC scavenger hunts, right? So he is very much a BTC maximalist. He very much, presents the message of understanding, the value of time, the value of money, and how, Bitcoin kind of has become like that golden child for representing, taking power back from the ultra wealthy. And he put together these like exceptionally fun scavenger hunts where the grand prize, I want to say the first prize was like a whole Bitcoin, right? And it was, probably worth $25,000 at the time, $20,000, something like that. And I was able to get in on this Discord where we had, a pretty like awesome group of people who were just like actively going after this prize, right? And so I got to see that, I got to be a part of it, and I really enjoyed it. And at the time I was already pretty familiar with a lot of the concepts that BTC offered to kind of the common man, but the way that he set up the scavenger hunt was really to inform people, to like get people to understand what the benefits are of Bitcoin, but to a layperson, to somebody that isn't, a crypto native.
Yes.
I'm not saying that ours is probably going to be, not as simple. So it's not going to be quite for the layperson, but what it is targeting is people that are involved in the crypto space that haven't quite grasped the idea of what privacy means on the blockchain and how critical it is going to be moving forward, right? Like we see the, like the IRS is hiring like the biggest number of crypto analysts, and they have these massive classes of people that are learning how to trace this stuff, right? And it's good and all, but it also presents this problem where, at least in the traditional banking system, we do have some level of privacy. Like there are ways to privatize your own financial life with, something like a centralized currency, or with a lot of these main blockchains, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. It's all 100% private. And as soon as you have the technical skills to understand how to put transactions together, I can find out everything about you, every single thing about you, right? And a lot of people, even attending some of these like bigger conferences, right? When I would go and talk to these other projects and these, NFT creators, these game creators, and you simply ask the question of what is your project doing to promote privacy? And then you explain to them, they're just like, they have either this aha moment or this like disgusted moment where they realize with one transaction, I can find out their entire crypto holdings if I wanted to, especially, in some of these bigger chains. And it just kind of hits them in that moment that like, whoa, what do you mean? Like there's alternatives, like there's something else out there that can help me with this. And so that's been like, kind of where the whole idea started, and kind of like where we're hoping to bring this project is, one, obviously to introduce this concept of like, you can use private data to share really valuable information and no one can get to it, right? Like I would encourage anyone here to try to just steal the prize. Like we've gone through, the ringer to ensure, we've talked to a couple of, peers who are in the security field to ensure that what we've done has set us up for success. And so essentially, if someone cracks this code, right, without going through the puzzles, then Secret Network itself is dead. We'll just put it that way, right? So we've integrated it in such a way that like we're utilizing the security of Secret Network to ensure the security of this prize. And so we're pretty excited or terrified. I don't know. We could crash the entire market.
That's perfect. Yeah. So I met you at the conference in Miami. I went to the hospital you work at, and you're absolutely right. We talked to a bunch of different projects, and they come over and we all have our privacy hats on. They're like, yeah, but why secret? And we're like, because everything else isn't private. And they're like, well, how come nobody else is talking about privacy? Because you don't highlight your weaknesses. They'll right. Like, if people start talking about privacy, it's going to expose that almost all of crypto is not sustainable because it's so grotesquely public that you give all of your information and everything you ever do, financially and otherwise, to everybody, not just to some people who can audit you or where they have to buy your information, to everybody, where everybody can audit and find everything you do from their mom's basement. It's really silly at this point, right. And it's not talked about because nobody highlights their weaknesses. But you talk about crypto graffiti, and I'm not familiar with his work, but I'm a fan of a coin artist, Marguerite de Courcelles. So I famously got really involved in Secret Network a lot from Tor's podcast, and I think episode 4 was with Coin Artist. Absolutely fantastic. This is late 2017, early 2018, talking about where NFTs can eventually go and what private metadata will offer for them before Secret Network contracts even existed. Like, they were that far ahead of the game. But she similarly did a bunch of puzzles with Bitcoin and stuff as prizes. And similar to crypto graffiti, they're tricking people into education where they're like, right. All they know is they're just going for a prize. They're focused on an incentive. But along the way, we're getting the education across, because it's hard to just make educational content and be like, hey, come learn this. Like, I'm bored. I'll just open TikTok or something. But if they're following the incentives and learn along the way, like, I learned how to code Solidity through Crypto Zombies. I'm like, this is cool. I can play a little crypto game. Why not? And meanwhile, the underlying structure of how the code works and everything is being instilled. And that's a brilliant educational tool. And I'm stoked that you guys are doing this.
Yeah. So we're definitely hopeful, that it gets people to start thinking like why are other projects not just like inserting funds into their NFT? And arguably this is one thing that I think will bother people is realistically, I could drop dead the moment we launch, and everything that you need to solve is fully available in the NFTs. Like, there is no external involvement required on my part to get you your prize. And so we're expecting that a lot of people will get frustrated, and we know, like, we were part of, like I said, the crypto graffiti hunt. We understand that when you get stuck, you're like, this is clearly broken, there's clearly no answer. But know that I have poured hours and hours over this, ensuring that not only is it solvable, but that it's also really challenging. It gets people to think about cryptography. We're also including as much as we can culture, poetry, non-cryptography related things, to really kind of that's all I can say. But
I love it.
Yeah, we're excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We are hopeful that it doesn't get solved too quickly. We want this to kind of be a brain racker for a lot of people. But otherwise, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to be able to share kind of like what I've created with people, and hopefully continue creating for people, right? So one of the things that we've kind of decided early on is that this is only part one. So working with the artist and working with our writer, they've already committed and agreed to doing both series 2 and series 3. The NFTs and the puzzle hunt are part one. There's also, this underlying storyline that we can maybe talk about a little bit.
Yeah,
and
please.
Kind of where the doctor name comes from. So we've got the story of Dr. Leonard Finch. And so the entire kind of narrative, the puzzle hunt, incorporates the story of Dr. Finch. Now, Dr. Finch was a character that we created to kind of bring you along on a pre-recorded adventure, if you will. So Dr. Finch, so what Eric's actually looking at here is that kind of intro story that you can go read right now. It's thegoldendragon.io. You can learn a little bit more. And so Dr. Finch is this kind of disgraced archaeologist, right? He kind of took inspiration from, movies like Indiana Jones, movies like National Treasure, kind of people that are pushed to the outskirts for believing in something that, others tell them isn't real, right? So privacy advocates are often told, like, is it really that important? Kind of we're on the outskirts of mainstream right now. So the story follows this kind of disgraced archaeologist who is very obsessed with the idea of dragons, and that idea comes largely from his own grandfather's adventures in a time where exploration was very dangerous, and so you really had to set out for a grander purpose, right? And Dr. Finch sets out on these adventures, and he sends these letters home, and the rest of the narrative kind of takes place from his letters. And so we're kind of learning about what he's experienced through these letters that are found in the NFTs. They're part of the treasure hunt, and they're going to kind of like guide you into hopefully this imaginative world that we've created that kind of tells the tale of the search for the dragons. And I don't know, maybe he found something, maybe he didn't, but we also know pretty quickly that Dr. Finch actually disappears. And so what we wanted to do is really kind of take that narrative and extend it into an additional couple of series where we get to continue telling that story. So kind of on the website, you saw the different collections. We've already named them. It'll kind of help with the following the narrative, the arc of the narrative. You've got the emergence, and then you have the reckoning. So we are very, very much committed to this project. We're the NFT series, the treasure hunts are also going to grow in size. So this first puzzle set of puzzles will unlock 25,000 UST, right? And the next iteration in the series, that you'll see that amount go up, with the final series also being the most difficult, hopefully, is going to be worth significantly more. And so, part of this again is to really bring the user on an adventure, but also to keep them engaged throughout the life cycle of this entire project. And that was kind of like the original vision, right? The original vision was just this 3-part NFT series, a really strong narrative, something that's fun, and then it would just kind of like end from there, right? Well, in creating it, we actually came up with kind of some additional ideas that we thought would extend and really bring to life the dragons and the dragon series that we're gonna put out. And so kind of there at the bottom, you'll see we have some ideas that are floating around, a couple of which we're already actually working on. But that's kind of the core of the project, right? Is these 3 series really telling a story, and that will ultimately resolve. So stick around, make sure you get involved with the first series, because series 2 and 3 will rely pretty heavily on series 1, the NFTs from series 1, and yeah, we're excited for what the community will become.
Absolutely. So all of these NFT projects are coming out with their own Discords. I just joined your guys's, and we'll put the link here in the episode description so you guys can get involved and get connected. But one of the biggest things that these NFT projects are really fighting for is community engagement, because the NFTs only retain value, and these communities only grow, and the project's only as successful as its community is. But what better way to grow and engage a community than forcing people to kind of work together to pursue this prize, where you actually have to build friendships and relationships like you talked about by pursuing this crypto graffiti puzzle. So on that fact, like I've already talked with Paul and Joe, our podcast team, and we're going to be a team fighting for that $25,000 prize to split it. I think I'll get 24,000 and they can get 500, something like that.
Seems fair.
Could somebody solve these puzzles and win the prize with just one NFT, or is collaboration necessary, and to what extent?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So there is in total 7 puzzles, and each dragon will only come with one of those puzzles. The puzzles are also not distributed equally. So puzzle rarity is separate from dragon rarity, meaning you could theoretically print one of the more rare puzzles, and you then might become valuable to someone else's team, right? Like if a team minted out a bunch and they didn't get puzzle 5 or 7 or 1, ultimately they would have to rely on someone that does have it. So can someone solve it with only one NFT? Theoretically and technically speaking, yes, with collaboration. However, if you wanted to just solve it on your own without ever sharing any information with anyone else and never receiving information from anyone else, then you'd have to get all 7 puzzles, and you'd have to have more than one NFT. But one of the things that we are doing with the Discord is from day 1, you'll be able to verify. So when you join the Discord right now, you'll see kind of like our public section. You'll see that most people are chatting in the unverified owners, unverified chat. When people verify, so we'll set up some instructions for how to verify. You'll get a specialty role with access to other areas of the Discord. And the reason we wanted to do that from day 1 was to allow people to know at least the people that are in that area have at least something to contribute, meaning they have at least one dragon and at least one puzzle. So, we do want to caution people that we're not responsible for any information that you give away or broker between other individuals. These puzzles realistically are valuable, right? Like I could be a guy who has 6 of the puzzles. I have them solved. All I need is one more, and I go to you and I say, "Hey, why don't you just send me that 7th puzzle, right?" And I think I'm getting a great deal because I'm trading you one puzzle for one puzzle, but in reality, you're giving me that final key, right? You're giving me that final ability to go and take the prize for myself. So there is a little bit of game theory here, in how you share information, which we wanted, right? Like that is an intentional design of this project is to really to get people to think about how we share information and the value of information, right? Because at the end of the day, that information, at least in this case, could be that little bit could be worth $25,000. So we're pretty excited. We're pretty excited to see the community come together. We're hoping that people play nice with one another, but when money's involved, you never know. So it's definitely going to be exciting. We are encouraging people, to build teams, to build their own, kind of mini communities to discuss these things more openly. But I will say, be careful. You share that public puzzle publicly. That's totally up to you. We're not necessarily blocking that. But you could be giving someone what they need to make you lose. So it's definitely something to get people to really think.
Dre in the comments is saying he's ready with his team. You guys are going down. We won't share anything with you. In fact, I'm going to find my way to become a mod on the Discord and just ban you from the Discord in general.
Just live. We'll just do some live puzzle solving on Secret Codes. They're going to give you all of their puzzles. Eric told me that beforehand. He said he was just going to give them all away to anyone that followed him.
Absolutely. I'm stoked. When Shade did their question and answer thing, like they did a little quiz publicly, like with the prize being an anon, we got the podcast team together and some of our friends, and we were all like working together to try to answer these questions. And I think like probably 3 or 4 of us finished in the top 10, but we didn't win. But that's all going to change here. We're going to win. And then as you guys make this graphic novel series and get picked up by Netflix, all I ask is that Dr. Finch's first name be Eric.
He, unfortunately, I will break it to you, does have a first name, and his name is Leonard. But we could just pretend that his middle name is Eric, because I don't think we gave him a middle name.
I'll take care of that for you. But that is absolutely fantastic. So so the minting starts on April 2nd. And how much is it? I know there are going to be 3,500 dragons in this first series.
Yep.
So how much is it going to be per dragon?
Yep. We've decided, unless there's like some massive price gain between now and then, which, hey, you never know what happens. We're going to be minting for 25 secrets. So we'll have some instructions in the Discord. We'll be available to answer questions about how to get secret, kind of what differentiates it from secret. But we're pretty excited. So it's going to be April 2nd at about 11 a.m. You'll be able to mint if you have a whitelist. So that's one of the big things is like this first series, we are giving a small time advantage to those that have a whitelist. So, in our case, unlike probably a lot of other projects, our whitelist, not only helps guarantee you a dragon for the first 48 hours in the minting cycle, but it also gives you that time advantage of being able to mint before anyone else and get started. So there's a little bit of that. The other thing is, we obviously went to great lengths to find some fantastic artists. We ended up partnering with a wonderful artist whose art you now see sitting behind me. Oh, I totally lost my train of thought where we were going with this.
Good. We're just going to showcase some of this art. But this is going to be dope. So we get a head start on the puzzles. Do you guys have an estimated amount of time that you think it's going to take people to solve? Like, do you think it could be done in a day or two, or do you think it's going to be months? What happens if it's been 2 years and nobody solved it?
One of the things that I wish I would have done early on was like actually stake the prize so that like if it just keeps going, it just keeps getting bigger, right? Mm-hmm. I would say I'm pretty confident that it'll be solved within the first week. But like I said, we've also made it difficult enough that I don't know. Maybe I'm overestimating people's abilities, but know that I've spent
now I'm
probably,
gonna feel silly when it's been a month.
I've spent probably a good month or so, kind of designing some of the aspects of this, I will give one little piece of alpha to this group, and that is, you should probably make sure you're following us on Twitter, because you never know what a tweet might have in it that could be valuable. That's all I have to say there. So if you're not already, check us out. It's Golden Dragon IO. Unfortunately, the was taken, so it's just Golden Dragon IO on Twitter.
Awesome. So we get started on April 2nd. I mean, we get started on April 5th. Everybody wait until then. And you guys are talking about having a DAO, having battles, but I still have a couple more questions about the puzzles because I cannot wait to get cracking on this. Will the
Yep.
puzzles be fully contained in the private metadata? If so, will that be viewable in like on Stash, or will we have to see it on your site? And then also, if not, is it just like a link to a special website, or like how does this work?
Yeah. All great questions. I will say the gallery section of our website is going to be your friend. That's going to be what you'll need right off the bat. We are actually not launching on Stash until I think 2 weeks later. So we definitely want to give time for people to, spend working on the puzzles, not worrying about flipping their dragons, because there's definitely going to be some rare ones people are going to want. And we want to make sure that, people know where to go, but that's pretty much all I'm going to say. We really want to keep this kind of, as obscure as possible, really let people scratch their brains. If it's like, clear that no one's finding the starting points, then we'll, the Discord and Twitter will definitely, help people along if it's clear that there's just like absolutely no progress. But I'm pretty confident that most people will be able to figure out how to start.
Awesome. I feel like I'm at a distinct advantage because I always played Pokemon and only used Dragonites. So
yep,
yeah, I think I know more about these.
You do. It's embedded from you from a young age, so you'll be able to speak and understand Dragon.
So talk to me about the card battles. Is this like Pokemon, and do my Dragonites carry over?
Yeah. So this is all I'm gonna preface this by saying that this is all kind of forward-looking statements, meaning the success of the project itself, the success of the NFTs, success of the scavenger hunt, the engagement from the community, building out, a full game is not incredibly difficult, but it is, it does require resources, and we want to make sure that we're not building something for no one. So kind of what we're about to talk about is, it's what we want to do. We've investigated what it would take to do it. The team's on board. So we do have some big ideas, but I don't want anyone to, mint solely based on the coming potential card game or dragon token or anything like that. So, we're obviously committed to series 1, 2, and 3, getting the narratives out, the treasure hunts out. And that's really, what we're guaranteeing. Everything else, just want to make sure that everyone knows it's, ideal state, right? But what we've discussed and really what we're aiming for is the ability to utilize your dragon as the art for what is essentially like either a Pokemon, a Yu-Gi-Oh style card game, where we'll have a secondary kind of like stats NFT that's modifiable, where you'll be able to unlock different things, different stats. We've talked about doing like the longer you hold your specific dragon, the longer or different stats you might accrue kind of naturally. There's ways to buy different stats. Game development is a lot of fun, but it's also really hard because you have to make sure that someone can't just, I personally hate pay to win games. And so finding a way to make it, interactive, give people the ability to kind of like level up, but not game the system completely, is important. So we're definitely hoping to do that. This is also some like very, very early alpha. We've also talked about with one partner project, potentially doing this as a VR card game. So think about your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh episode where you throw down your cards and things come to life. That would be our like ultimate ideal state. But the other thing that we were kind of talking to, again, another partner project. We do rely on some others' tech here. So forward-looking statement, absolutely. But the ability to bring in other dragon NFTs from other ecosystems and creating sort of like a battle dragon universe, right? There's some tech that's coming, in the gaming space, in the cosmos, that would open the doors to having the ability to interact with other NFT projects that are not built on Secret. And there's a lot of hype around that and how we could potentially build out sort of this like arena where anyone could bring their, and we'd probably limit it to dragons because we're, you know, a bit favorite, but
It should be like 10 different dragon projects and then redacted rabbits, and they just get like like any dragon just beats the crap out of it. And you can we're the Lizard King now.
Yeah, no, it was funny when we were looking at the, you know, some of the other projects. We were like Lizard King. I was like, man, I hope they don't think we're trying to come and eat them. But you know, we could have a friendly little war going on with the rabbits. We definitely don't want to detract from their narrative, especially with the Lizard King. But you know, you never know. Dragons do like a tasty rabbit or a rat here and there, so there might have to be some for fun charity projects or something there.
I love the idea of cross-chain dragon battling. That's super cool. You also talk about a DAO. Are you guys going to run a validator? And is there going to be like a token or?
Yeah, so the decision as to whether or not we would actually run a DAO is still kind of up in the air. We are focusing on building out a dragon token because one, every ecosystem needs a dragon token. Why not? But also, you know, we do see a lot of interesting dynamics between trying to design like a card game, having, you know, optional abilities to trade and upgrade your dragon, those stats, utilizing, you know, kind of an ecosystem specific token. And really we'd be focusing on that token, you know, going to the NFT holders, right? So it's, like I said, you know, pretty early stages in the ideas. We kind of verified that it would work for what we're trying to do. Now it's just getting down to those, you know, design details. How do we want to integrate it with our ecosystem? How do we want it to interact? What's the purpose, right? Is it to bring value? Is it to make our NFT holders money? Is it to give us a medium of exchange within the Dragon universe? That, you know, it's still kind of like being fleshed out. We do want to ultimately pull ideas from the community as much as possible, right? I think we've seen that, you know, some of the value really comes from, you know, the people that make up what we're trying to do. And, you know, decentralized community is such an interesting and powerful thing. So yeah, we'll see. But, you know, right now the idea is that, you know, the NFT holders would ultimately get a majority of that airdrop. So, you know, as another reason to buy a dragon and hold it, especially over a longer period of time, is you would be probably some of the core contributors, core stakeholders of the dragon token that would be built on Secret Network.
Love it. So I ask all the NFT projects that come on here this question, even though you've already talked about an absolute ton of this stuff, but obviously you guys are using private metadata in a completely novel and beautiful way. What else would you like to see private metadata used for in the future of NFTs and their integration? Yeah.
I think that DeFi so far is still incredibly underserved in this space. I think that there's like a massive opportunity for the platforms that can build to scale out and attract really enterprise level institutions, right? So we see a lot of the DeFi space growing. We see, you know, obviously things going on in the Terra universe lately that are just absolutely incredible. But at the same time, you know, they still don't fully have the ability to, you know, run a dark pool in the sense that, you know, you're not having to trust, you know, somebody's contract or project or platform that they built that could be, you know, anyways, the biggest thing I think is, yeah, seeing secret contracts used to kind of build out things like dark pools, you know, being able to accommodate volumes that, you know, big institutions would be interested in trading with. And we're talking like, I don't know if anyone in the DeFi space has the amount of volume that we would need to see for those levels of institution. But I do think that the value add that secret contracts have is so ripe for disrupting some of that big institutional level stuff.
I'll let you know when Hydro Finance can partner with LMAX Digital.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, that's definitely what I see. You know, I think there's definitely much in the way there. You know, from the NFT side, I think that, you know, we're just kind of exploring what, you know, private art means. And I think there's, you know, especially for bigger name creators, a lot of opportunity to really privatize. You know, we saw some of that with the Tarantino art. You know, I've talked to a few other projects that are just like mind-bogglingly like household names, mind-bogglingly big, that are super interested because it does exactly that, right? The funny thing is that for, you know, people like us, you know, the more common man or woman, you see, you know, art and you're like, oh, I wish I had that in my collection. I would love to tell everyone about it, that I own that. But what we don't realize is that there's a lot of really big art collectors whose entire, you know, thing is privatizing their entire collections, right? Like they don't want anyone else to see it. They want to be able to show it off privately and to one another, and, you know, at their parties and stuff like that. And so there's, you know, in the NFT space, I think we're just barely scratching the surface of what's, you know, what we can serve in the market that we can serve with that.
Absolutely. Well, you're taking another huge step towards the success and growth of Secret Network NFTs. And I hope that this is the first NFT project that is picked up by Netflix. And you guys come out with your graphic novel series, and we take the storyline as far as it could go with a National Treasure meets Pokemon meets Raffles. I absolutely love it. I can't wait till April 2nd, 11 o'clock. Which time zone is that?
So that's PST. We'll make sure to post it in kind of like a more universal time here shortly, and we can get that out. You know, again,
Darn
check out
daylight
the
savings.
Discord. Oh, I know, right? It makes everything. My sleep schedule is messed up. Still is a little messed up. But yeah, definitely follow us on Twitter. The Discord is going to have, you know, the updates as well. We're pretty active in the Discord. You know, this is obviously we're coming down to crunch time. We are, you know, some days very heads down, trying to just like make sure that every T is crossed, I is dotted, and, you know, place that we can introduce new security features, we're going to introduce it because we do want this to be kind of like a fun and fair experience for everyone involved.
Cool. And the Secret Code podcast is currently accepting applications for team members who are willing to take 0.05% or less of the prize when we win. So no, Ryan, it's awesome. We're going to link the an invite to the Discord here in the YouTube and podcast episode description. So everybody, do make sure to join the Golden Dragon Discord and start setting up your teams, because we are going to be a behemoth to compete with.
Looking forward to it, Eric. I can't wait for you guys to be coming into my DMs screaming, "We did it! We did it!"
Thank you, Dr. Eric Finch there. And I can't wait until April 2nd, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for you whitelisters. So if you don't have a whitelist, go get one. Follow them on Twitter, join their Discord, and good luck to us.
Hey, thank you, everyone.